Hi, I'm Scott with Confluent, and I'd like to show you Confluent's newly available fully managed connector for Couchbase. Now, some of you may already be running a self-managed connector, and others may just be getting started. I'm going to show you an example of both, but I definitely want to highlight the fully managed connectors because I think they're pretty powerful and really easy to use. And so hitting specifically on self-managed connectors and fully managed connectors, what's the difference in those two? Well, self-managed connectors you download from Confluent Hub and run those yourself. You can download the connector from the hub and deploy it in your own Kafka Connect cluster, on-prem or in your own cloud. You manage everything though, the deployment, the scaling, the monitoring, the networking, and the upgrades. And that is suitable for companies that want full control over their connectors. But the fully managed connector running in Confluent Cloud is managed by Confluent. So that runs in an infrastructure that Confluent supports. And you just configure it. You don't need to manage Kafka Connect clusters. That comes with additional monitoring, auto scaling, and support from Confluent. So it's super awesome for users that want an easy, hands-off, reliable solution and don't need to manage custom configurations. To get started with a connector, it's easy. Just go to confluent.io/hub and search for Couchbase, and it'll give you all the information you need in order to get started. Before I show you the fully managed connectors, it's sometimes nice to see where you've come from. If you're just getting started, then go ahead and just jump straight to the fully managed connectors. But I would like to show what it's like to run a self-managed connector. So let's take a look at that now.
Okay, I'm going to start Confluent platform on my local MacBook. All right, just press enter. We will now wait a few seconds for everything to come online. Terrific. Looks like it all worked. Check the status real quick. And voila, all set.
Great, so let's pull up localhost 9021, go into topics. Let's create one. We will call it IoT events. Number of partitions 1. I think I need to customize the settings though. I'm going to change the retention size to 1 gig, which is fine. But the replication factor, I need to change from the default of 3. And obviously, I'm running in a local dev environment and have one broker. Okay, topic has been created. There it is. So let's take a look at writing some data into it.
All right, so let's run a connector. Let me drag a configuration file over so you can see it. Pretty standard stuff. You would be maintaining this on your own if you are running your own connectors. Let's go ahead and run this connector now. All right, that worked.
Now that we've started our connector, let's go see if it's available. Click on Connect into my default connector cluster there, and I can see it running. And the topic is IoT events, which is what we want to sync data into Couchbase from. So now let's move on to adding some data into this Kafka topic, and then we will sync that data to Couchbase and show that it's working. Let's pop into Visual Studio and do something a little different. Let's connect locally through the VSCode extension, which is really convenient. And CP local, localhost 9092. I've got my Kafka cluster here, and I can see a bunch of topics, including internal ones. And down here, I've got IoT events. So we'll click on this little icon, and now we can actually watch the messages as they flow in. So let's get some flowing.
All right, let me go find my Python program that I have written. It's very simple, and I have it in one of these directories here. And what I did is I'm generating mock IoT events. So again, very simple program that just generates mock events and publishes them to Kafka. All right, let me see if I can run it now. Python 3, let me type this out. Okay, looks like I got it running. And it's doing what appears to be about an event every second.
Almost forgot to show this, but you can see data is flowing into real time into the Kafka topic as well. So it's very cool Visual Code Studio plugin. If you haven't used it, highly recommend it. You can connect to Confluent Cloud too, not just local Confluent platform installations. Great. Let's go check out in Couchbase now to make sure that our connector is actually publishing data to Couchbase directly versus looking in the Confluent platform specifically. Let's check out Couchbase. Let's go ahead and log in, sign in. Okay, let's go into our cluster and let's see, go into data tools and let's check out the IoT events. Okay, it's the first one up, 329 documents, 333 documents, 335 documents, 336. So you can see, I think I'm publishing maybe one event every second or something like that. So you can actually see this is coming in real time. Let's run it again. 342, you can see the number increasing down there. So we actually have our data coming in, and let's see if we can check out what it actually looks like. Let's see, IoT events. Oh, perfect. It's actually got it right there. So yeah, same kind of data, just mock IoT data. So this is actually really cool. We can see the data flowing in real time using a self-managed sync connector. Okay, let's get started with the fully managed connector available for Couchbase. I will try to do this without switching around to too many screens in a dizzying fashion. So just bear with me. But let's go ahead and just get started. Let's click into Couchbase and create a new collection just so we can show how this actually works. So we'll click on the Create button here. We will put it into my bucket Summit ER. Default scope is fine. And I don't know quite what data we're going to put in here, but maybe we'll just call it data gen for now, because I do know at Confluent we have a series of data gen connectors that make it easy to simulate data to Confluent Kafka topics. And so we'll use something like that. Let's just call it data gen for now. Okay, data gen has been created on the Couchbase side. So let's go into our environment in Confluent Cloud. And I have a pretty clean cluster with nothing there and no data here too. So let's create a topic and we will call it data gen as well. One partition is fine. I don't need an infinite retention. We'll just do a gig and we'll leave everything else the same. Okay, got a topic that I can use. So now let's go into the connectors and let's search for that data gen that I mentioned. There it is, sample data. So we will click on that. All right, launch sample data. Let's do that. We'll just use orders. That's fine. Let's click additional configuration and select the topic. Choose data gen. Okay, API key. Let me go get mine and paste it in here. I have got that saved somewhere. Okay, got it correctly that time. So fine, we will just use JSON data and we will just do the orders data. Seems fairly easy. Click continue. It's fine, just one task. Okay, you can review your settings here. Let's rename this as data gen connector sync, because we are going to sync this data into, or data gen sync is fine. We are going to sync this into Couchbase. That's probably a bad name for it now that I think about it. Data gen sync, but no problem. And while that is being provisioned, we will take a look at our topic, and we should start seeing order data come in, and we do. Great. So now that we have data flowing into the Confluent Cloud topic, let's set up the fully managed connector to sync this data directly into Couchbase. So we will click on Add Connector, get rid of Data Gen, and type Couchbase. And these are the new fully managed connectors that are available. So let's click on the sync. We will select this topic, Data Gen, click Continue. Credentials, let me input my API key for this new connector. We'll do a test and make sure it's valid, and it is. All right, Couchbase seed nodes. Let me get that information, which I have saved elsewhere. Right, I will get my bucket, which is Summit ER. Click Continue. Okay, we will just leave it as JSON. Default, the default collection. That I need to change. Summit ER. And the scope is default. And we will change that to, I believe we just called it data gen, right? Yeah. Data gen. Let me look at my other settings here, see if there's anything I need to check. The upsert handler is fine. Yeah, everything else looks good. Let's click continue. And the good news is if I did do anything wrong here, the GUI will tell me. One task is fine. Let me click continue. And we should be ready to launch this. So we will just call it the Couchbase Sync Connector. Click continue. Okay, it is provisioning. Okay, great. So our sync connector is up and running, and you will eventually start to see metrics in here on the amount of data processed. So let's jump over to Couchbase though and see if the data is in fact coming through Summit ER data gen. Ah, it is. Okay, data gen. Perfect. Let me refresh my screen there. Yeah, 560 documents. Great. It looks like it's coming through. So now we've just proven out that we have data flowing from Confluent Kafka into Couchbase using the fully managed sync connector here. All right, great. So we can see our sync connector is working. We've got some messages processed. Let's do something different this time. Let's take this data just for kicks and giggles and take the data gen data and use the fully managed source connector and source that back into Confluent into a new topic just to show how that works. So let's create a new topic. And we will call it data gen retrieved. One partition is fine. Goodbye. Let's save and create. We'll skip data contracts for now. Okay, we have a new topic. So now we go create a new connector so we can source that data back just to show how that works. Okay, there's our fully managed source connector. My API again, API key again. Let me go get that. Okay. Now we've got to enter my seed node information again. So let's continue. Let me remember which bucket name I've got here. And let's do, okay, default topic. We will choose BSON. And let's see here. The name of the topic was data gen retrieval. Okay. That may not be exactly right, which we can fix that later if so. If there's anything else I want to change here. Ah, I remember now. Data gen retrieved, actually. Okay, see if there's anything else I want to check. Yeah, the source handler class. I'm going to want to change that to the raw JSON source handler. And there is some tooltips here on using the byte array converter for the value dot converter setting. That is done by the nature of me setting the VSON here in the GUI. See if there's anything else I want to set. Collections, yes, definitely need that. So I'm going to do default scope, default dot, and then data gen is the collection on the Couchbase side that we are collecting data from. That should pretty much do it. Click continue. Okay, one task, click continue, review it, and yeah, it's fine. Source connector, let's click continue. Right, it should also start up and start sourcing data from the data gen collection in Couchbase into this Kafka topic. And again, we're just doing this to just show how it works and how easy it is to use the fully managed connectors. I'm not really doing any business logic or anything like that. That is being provisioned. So while that's being provisioned, eventually, oh, well, it's already showing up. So this data is now flowing in both directions. So again, just to kind of cover this again, we have a connector that's writing data into this topic, which is being synced into Couchbase. And then we have a connector that's reading data out of Couchbase, the same data, and into this topic as well. So pretty cool, super easy to see how this works. You can see the data coming in just fine. So I hope that helps. Super easy to set up those fully managed connectors. I would encourage you to give it a shot and work with your Couchbase and Confluent account teams if you have any specific configurations that you need to work on or questions or anything of that nature. Good luck.